Hi everyone, welcome back to AFTV and welcome back to the Tactical Insight Show. Once again, it is just me on my own, from home actually, because we're doing this in self-isolation. So yes, it's just me, no Graham today. Graham will be back to review the Leeds game next week. Hopefully there'll be a win on the board to discuss there, but there certainly is a win to discuss today. A 2-0 win, another clean sheet, another 2 goals to add to the 3 we scored against Southampton. This was a good win against West Ham, and we've got a lot of really good stuff to go into, which I'm really looking forward to. I've got the stats here, I've got the numbers, I've got a goal to break down. Let's get straight into it. As always, we'll be in the comment section after the game to discuss it with you guys. Anything you thought we did tactically, anything you liked in terms of individual performances, we will discuss with you, because I've got to say, Arsenal were very good against West Ham, and there's a lot to love. Let's break it down by going first and foremost into the match stats, as we always do. Arsenal, clearly the dominant side, and match stats don't always tell the full story. We say that every time on the show. I think here they do. 21 shots to West Ham's 7, 8 on target to their 1, 11 shots in the box. I've been looking at this sort of shots in the box tally going up. We're getting in and around their goal a lot more frequently. I've really enjoyed that. We obviously had more of the ball and therefore outpassed them, which I've got to say, West Ham are a good side. They won't be pleased that they allowed 21 shots on goal, 11 in the box, all those kind of things. They won't be happy about that. They won't be happy about the fact that Fabianski was tested 8 times. For a team that have been very compact, that Liverpool and West Ham have found very difficult to beat, I think we can be... Liverpool and Chelsea found very difficult to beat. I think we can be really proud of that performance. Sure, I was... on the watch along in my fan cam saying that I'm still looking for a little bit more in terms of chance creation, quality of chances, quality of shots, but there was a lot to like there. And I think there was a better balance to Arsenal today. There was a better, how do I put it? A better cohesion in what we were doing, not just in the West Ham game, but against Southampton as well. And I wanted to look a little bit deeper at the numbers, because it's very easy on the eyes to say, Arsenal will look better. Arsenal against Southampton, West Ham, for whatever reason, just looked a little better. And I couldn't quite pick out why it was. And I think maybe this graphic and these numbers might tell us a little bit why. So I've got here, trying to understand the quality of the chances we're creating. An interesting stat, that Arsenal's XG per game from match week 4, which is the Norwich game, through to match week 15, which includes the Everton game, our last away result, we averaged an XG of 1.6. Whereas the XG per game in the last 2 fixtures, so that's a Southampton 3-0 win and the West Ham 2-0 win, was 2.4. Now, why have I looked at match week 4 to match week 15? Well, I want to be honest. I'm going to give Arsenal the benefit of the doubt here and write off the first 3 games, where obviously we had so many players out for Brentford, Chelsea and Man City. Even the players coming back, like Aubameyang, who started in that City game, he wasn't fit, just recovering from COVID. Lacazette was only fit enough for the bench. The whole defence was completely missing. Gabriel was injured. Tommy hasn't even arrived. White had COVID. So I thought to myself, let's give Arsenal the benefit of the doubt and not judge their chance creation from those 3 games, because I didn't think that would be fair. But we'd go from Norwich through to Everton, and there is an increase, there is an improvement in the XG number, in the quality of chance we're creating. And I think when I look at the average from then to now, what's that, 9 games I think I've picked out there. Yeah, it's improved in the last 2 games against Southampton and West Ham. We don't just look better. There does feel this more like a better purpose when we're getting towards goal, and I've really enjoyed that. And yeah, the XG number kind of, I wouldn't say proves it, but suggests that what we're seeing is real. That there is improvement in that area. I then thought that, whilst looking at our better chance creation, I wanted to understand a little bit why. And I think maybe this next graphic tells us a little bit more then. So I've got the average positions for Arsenal in the Everton defeat, but also our 2 home games against Southampton and West Ham as well. And again, a couple of things here that I like, that I think are telling us why Arsenal have been able to improve their average XG over the last 2 games, but also why Arsenal look a bit better, why we look a little bit more unpredictable the last few games, that we look like we can score different kinds of goals. And I think the average position maps tells us not only does the average position map just look better, in the Southampton West Ham game in terms of our central midfielders being higher up the pitch, in terms of our centre backs are probably in the same positions, but again, just a nicer balance across the board. You can see Martinelli and Tierney a little too close there. I look at the Southampton game, Martinelli clearly the more advanced player. But the thing I really want to pick out here is Granit Xhaka's position. Now, against Everton, we saw him doing the things Granit Xhaka has been asked to do a lot of under Mikel Arteta, drifting to left centre-back, left field, to allow Kieran Tierney to bomb on. Martinelli having to come inside in that sense that Tierney's got that option to get forward. Now, we scored a really good goal against Everton, so that's not to say that this tactic and this deployment of players in these roles and positions isn't without its merit at times, but generally you feel that there's an imbalance there. When you look at Granit Xhaka's positioning in the Southampton and West Ham games, or average positioning, him and Partey are further up the pitch, that's a good thing, but they're both much more evenly balanced either side of the centre circle. That's what I'd tell people to look at when they're looking at this here. Look at where the centre circle is, and we'll look at where Xhaka and Partey are either side of it. Against Everton, Partey far more closer to that central midfield role and Xhaka drifting out. Now, we do see Arsenal's starting position is at times with Partey as the lone central midfielder, with Odegaard drifting and Xhaka almost playing as a bit more of a box-to-box against West Ham. I did enjoy that for him. But generally, as a base two, they were much, much better balanced against West Ham and Southampton, and I really, really enjoyed that. Now, I've spoken about balance from a positioning sense. I want to talk about the personnel as well. I think Martinelli is offering something really direct in terms of a player who can drift out wide and come inside. We see that with the goal, which we're going to break down in a second. But one of the players I really want to discuss as well is Alexander Lacazette, because I think what he offers up front is key to our balance going forward. And let's illustrate it here with some numbers. Now, again, I always like to point out that this is not designed to tear down Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It's not designed to belittle what he's been doing in an Arsenal shirt or whatever. It's just to look at a standard that I think Alex Lacazette has set now in this game against West Ham. And he's had some good performances this season as well. And to make the point that this is what we need to see from our centre-forward going forward. Let's have a look at the numbers. I've got Lacazette's numbers against West Ham versus Aubameyang's Premier League average for these things. Now, Lacazette, 46 touches to Aubameyang averaging 24 touches per game. It's almost double. He's averaging fewer passes per game than Lacazette put up against West Ham as well. Lacazette involved in 22 duels, more than any other Arsenal player on the pitch. He was right in the fight, leading the line from the front with his press, with his hold-up play, with his combative nature, trying to get involved. We see Aubameyang only averages 7 duels per game. Did very well against Tottenham in this area, but we've not seen him build on that since. In terms of tackles, again, Lacazette, 5 tackles in that game. Aubameyang averages 1 per game. And 3 shots on target. Now, why have I mentioned shots on target rather than shots? It's because Lacazette, while he's not one to, let rip and have a go regularly, when he does, he's pretty accurate with it. And again, Aubameyang's only averaging the 1 shot on target per game. Lacazette with the 3. And I think what he's done here, he has set a standard for what we need to see from our strikers going, whether it's Aubameyang, whether it's Lacazette. If we're to see Aubameyang in an Arsenal shirt again, and of course I hope we do, those are the numbers. I know those are very good numbers that Lacazette put up against West Ham, but they're the standard. We need to see something around that far more frequently. And let's see if they can do that. This is, as I said, this isn't just about criticising Aubameyang and where he's fallen short this season leading the line. It's about saying, Lacazette, you were terrific. Now that's the standard. Go for it again. We want to see that more often. He's always up there for duels. He's always up there for tackles and touches and trying to get on the ball. But we need to see this regularly. And these are very, very impressive numbers. And I think they add to the balance we've seen from Arsenal recently. I think the reason Arsenal have been able to go down the left and down the right and combine and drop into midfield and hold the ball up the pitch a little bit better is because Lacazette has been doing these things really, really well. And I've always felt that when I look at Arsenal, we're not far off, or we can just get it right up front. If we could just get that bit right, maybe Arteta's process and vision will come together. And I do think Lacazette is the best striker we have in terms of doing what it is Mikel Arteta wants. And I think that there's evidence that in the goal. And let's break it down and show everyone, because I think Lacazette is key. And once again, I want to always point it out that Arteta wants us to do certain things on the pitch, and I think it came to fruition again, like he did against Southampton with the playing out the back and the lovely cut back to Lacazette's goal. I think here some of the principles he's putting in place came together, and maybe the Arsenal players are starting to understand and more naturally do what it is Arteta wants the team to do. Let's look at it here. It starts with Gabriel on the ball, who's actually slightly more advanced than Xhaka, who again has dropped into that space. Now I think when Xhaka drops into that area, it allows for one of Martinelli or Lacazette to drop into midfield. Let's point them out here actually. I think it allows for Lacazette to drop into this little space that I'm going to point out here, because Xhaka's not in the way, if that makes sense. I think he's moving out to allow one of the forward players to drop in. And Rice and Souček don't really know if it's their man. They don't really know. Let's point out Souček here. You've got Souček. You've got Rice. I don't think they really know whether it's whether Lacazette is their player to pick up, whether Dawson's meant to step forward. As I've said here, we've got Matt Dawson, who could be stepping up to follow Lacazette. Is he meant to go with him? It causes confusion when a striker drops deep. But when that happens, it means it's going to leave space for a run, and we'll point out in yellow, for Martinelli to exploit. And that's what he did so well. We've seen this before. Martinelli exploited the space when Tomiyasu drifted wide, Odegaard dropped deep, and he ran in between fullback and centre-back to score a really good goal against Newcastle. So we've seen this run from Martinelli before, and again, we see it come together here for a lovely goal. Gabriel picks out that pass into Lacazette brilliantly as he drops deep, and Martinelli is on his bike immediately. He knows the run to make. He knows that Lacazette's got the ability and the time to turn and find him, and he does. He picks it up, rolls it into Martinelli, and it's just lovely, because what Martinelli does with his first touch, because he's not beaten Dawson and Kufau with that first, he's not beaten him with just his pace. He's made the run, but it's his first touch that gets him away from them, and that's what I really love. And by that point, he's through on goal, and it's a lovely finish past Fabianski. It's a really, really, really good Arsenal goal. As I said, from Gabriel into Lacazette, who turns and picks a lovely pass from Martinelli. It's clinical, it's direct, it's quick, it's not... While I love the Southampton goal, we're not going through the motions too much. This is very direct, and I like it. It's sensing an opportunity to attack the space and go from it in one or two passes, and they did, and it's brilliant, and I really enjoyed it. Now, we've praised Martinelli for the goal. We've praised Lacazette for his part in it. I also want to praise who for me was our man of the match, Bukayo Saka. Saka is an absolute gem, and I think he is shaking off that Euro 2020 hangover. The games against Southampton and against West Ham, I thought he looked really good, and there are some numbers here that illustrate quite how good he was, and not just how good, how important he was, because of how much went through him. Let's have a look at the numbers. He was involved, he had 3 shots in the game, the joint second highest with Lacazette. He completed 4 key passes. That's the most of any Arsenal player on the pitch. 37 passes in the opposition half was the 4th highest. Now, this is the kind of thing you typically see from your striker or your midfielders or your ball progressors. But Saka was a big part of trying to make things happen in the final third. 5 crosses, more than any other player. 71 touches. Now, that is really high for a right winger. That was the 3rd highest of any Arsenal player. He was involved in 20 duels, 2 behind Lacazette, who was first, but again, second up there for duels, because Saka just doesn't make it easy for players, whether he's pressing, whether he's looking after the ball, whatever. He is involved so heavily in those one-to-one battles. He's so strong on the ball. And I've got to say, for a young kid, he does really, really well in that area. And again, 8 attempted dribbles, more than any other Arsenal player, and he got the assist. Well done, Bukayo Saka. I thought I'd end on Bukayo Saka. I don't think it's often we give Saka the credit he deserves, or especially not of late, because I think we're in danger sometimes of basically saying, this is the level we expect of Saka, this is what we're used to seeing. But let's just take a second and praise him, especially for yesterday's performance. I thought he was terrific. We could have picked out Martinelli and his numbers. We spoke about him, we spoke about Lacazette, but I thought Bukayo Saka was absolutely terrific and deserves immense praise for his performance, and I'm glad we've got some numbers that just show off quite how good he was. Anyway, guys, that's been me and the Tactical Insight Show. We'll be back, me and Graham, on Monday to discuss the Leeds hopefully win, but we'll definitely be discussing the game, win, lose or draw. Whatever happens, we'll be breaking it down. Well done, Arsenal. Really enjoyed what we did tactically today. Thought the balance was better in midfield between Xhaka and Partey. I felt the balance between right and left was better. I felt Arsenal were just more effective in what they did on the ball and with the ball, especially in the second half. Shots in the box going up, our XG count going up. I enjoyed that. Well done, Arsenal. An impressive performance, a huge performance, and a huge 3 points. If you enjoyed this video, do drop a comment. Let us know what you enjoyed. Let us know what you want to see going forward. Like the video if you enjoyed it, as I said. And yes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Thanks very much. This has been Tactical Insight Light again. No Graham, just me today. But I've really enjoyed it. Big win. Arsenal needed it. Come on, Arsenal. Let's carry this on against Leeds.